The finalists in the women's beam competition, and the first four will see Kalia Nemor go second in the order as the top performer in qualification. We also have the third best in qualifying, Valentina Georgieva. As is customary, the split warm-up system in operation for all of the finals. So 4 warm-up compete, and then the other 4 warm-up and compete. The men's vault final, and we'll see Nazar Cheperny in the first half. He was the second best performer in qualification. We'll have the 7th, 6th, 4th and second best in the first half of this final. Great pleasure to have your company wherever it is you're watching from today. My name's Ollie Hogben. I'll be talking you through all of the action from the Cairo International Stadium. It is a lovely day in this extraordinary city. I've had the opportunity to visit Cairo for the first time, and I cannot recommend it strongly enough, especially if you love architecture and you love history. It's a really remarkable city, a vivacious place, a friendly place, and full of some of the most extraordinary glimpses into antiquity and human civilization that you can ever experience anywhere in the world. The gymnasts themselves have been speaking about it all week. They've had the chance, many of them, to visit the pyramids, which of course is something one simply must do, and it's actually very close to Cairo. It's only about 45 minutes or so journey by car, depending on the unpredictable Cairo traffic. There's also an extraordinary museum of antiquities. And so many of the athletes have really been absolutely awestruck by what they've seen, and it's easy to see why. We've been awestruck by the performances of Valentina Georgieva in World Cup competition, awestruck since her return from injury some time ago. She comes into this the third best qualifier on beam, 12.6 in the preliminary round. Doing well to keep stability on the beam here. Twist round with assurance to conclude that routine. Valentina Georgieva of Bulgaria. Nice to see her in a beam final in World Cup competition. We're so used to really focusing on her fantastic work on vault. She was 4th in the vault final yesterday. Now over to her teammate. Dimitar Dimitrov of Bulgaria, 7th best in qualification, 13.75 in the preliminary round. Oh, that was very stable, wasn't it? He picked up a 9.4 for execution for his first vault in the preliminary round. Lovely stable landing. Very experienced gymnast. We're quite used to seeing him in vault finals, including twice at continental level. That should do very well. It's not going to be an enormously high degree of difficulty compared to some of the vaulting that we're going to go on to witness. His second vault should be the more complex of the two. Fair bit of a wait for the opening score to come in for Dimitar Dimitrov. We're going to be alternating between men's vault and women's balance beam throughout, as is generally the way things are done in Cairo. They like to use the alternating system in finals. Always provides an interesting stylistic contrast when it's done that way. Well, we'll have a look back at this performance of Dimitar Dimitrov. He's really stable as he lands. As I said, 9.4 execution in the preliminary round. Now, over on beam, Valentina Georgieva scoring 12.666, so she's managed a little gain from the preliminary round. Only by a matter of just shy of 1/10. But certainly puts her in contention, considering she was the third best qualifier. Still to come, the parallel bars competition in the floor final for women, and then we'll have the men's horizontal bar final to conclude. So it's 13.866 for the Lo Yun vault for Dimitar Dimitrov. Virtually the same as qualification. Tiny drop in execution, but not really significant. This is going to be the interesting one because he had 3 penalty tenths in qualifying for what we anticipate to be his more challenging vault. This is where he could really pick up some numbers. And he has done a much more assured job with his shoe felt. Yeah, no wonder he reacts as he did. I mean, that was a lot better than qualification. Well done to him. To Kalia Nemor on beam, the top performer in qualification with a score of 13.2. She dominated the bars final as expected yesterday. Beautiful, elegant, poised mount. Really stabilised that loss of alignment coming out of the acrobatic series. Legs going nicely up towards horizontal. Very poised looking aerial again. Just a sense of the stability being astray there in the wolf turn. Not so there. That's a lovely double pipe conclusion from Kaylia Nimor. Lots of excellent work in that display. As I said, she was the top qualifier with a 5.6 for difficulty, one of the highest difficulty scores. The Schufelt scores 14.166 for a 14.016, so he's well up from qualification by about a third of a mark. The real difference was the ground he made up on that more difficult second vault. Now, on the subject of gymnasts with a difficult second vault, if we see what we think we're going to from Abdulaziz Mirvaliev of Uzbekistan, it should be quite a treat. Vault number 1 for the 6th best qualifier. And he does take quite a big adjustment with his 1.5 twisting Kasamatsu. May find that he's a little down from the 14 that he scored in qualifying. Quite a big leap forwards, really. He was 5th on floor and on vault at the Osijek World Cup earlier this year. Now he's indicating, as we expect for his second vault, the handspring double front pike. He can do it, I can't even say it. The Blahnik vault. .933, so as I suspected, just a shade down from qualifying, where he scored 14. That landing adjustment significant. Now, this is another chance for him to really pick up from qualification. This can be a stunner of a vault. Well, it really is exciting to watch, that Blahnik. Just 23, Abdulaziz Mirvaliev. It will be no surprise if she goes into the lead with that sort of display, but what will the margin be? Quite a good one, 13.333 for Kaylia Nimor. Execution is actually up from qualification, difficulty remains the same, all of that a gain of just over a 10th for the top qualifier. We look now at Chonjin Ah from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Didn't look fully comfortable with that mount there and did well actually just to find a bit of stability, albeit at a cost of some execution tenths. Starting to grow into the routine now. Well done. Very good recovery. Just leaning backwards a little as she came out of the free walkover. Did well to correct it. Running a little tight for time. There's a lot to enjoy about that from Chon Jin-ah. Moments where the execution was lacking, but moments where it was very poised. Very new to international competition, we've got to remember that. Now, that's a big change. 14.3 for vault number 2 for Mirvaliev for a 14.116 average. He is now in the lead, and he's up by about 4/10 from qualifying. Luca Morabito from Switzerland, twice a World Challenge Cup medalist. More recently than that, because they were both in 2023, he won the silver medal on vault at the DTB Pokal competition in Germany last month. He's got a difficult first vault, and he was really working hard to get round that double twisting Kasamatsu. You know, he's really been through it recently, Luca Morabito. In that brilliant performance at the DTB Pokal in Germany, he stepped in twice for an unwell teammate. Once the night before departure, he was added to the squad, and then he found himself into the vault final for similar reasons. So remarkable that this young man actually came out and delivered a medal-winning performance. He wasn't even expecting to be on the plane. Hope he had a suitcase packed. They always do, don't they, the reserves? They're always ready. $13.966. It is an improvement from qualification. Did have a penalty 10th in the preliminary round. Vault number 2 should be a slightly lower difficulty vault. Oh, very nice. Got good amplitude on his shoe felt, the 2.5 twisting Yurchenko. Contented nod of the head there from Luca Morabito. Now the next gymnast to come on vault is the gymnast with the highest difficulty so far. We've only got 2 who we expect to be posting a pair of 5.2 difficulty vaults. And the next gymnast to come on beam, we think may well have the highest difficulty there too. We are going to see Chon Jin-ah competing in the floor final as well. So huge congratulations to her. 3 finals made. Great work. $13.983 is the average. That's 3rd place for Morabito. 14 exactly for vault number 2. Just a slight drop in execution, that's all for his shoe felt. Waiting to compete is Jo Kyung-byul, teammate of Chon Jin-ah. They were both part of the squad that won silver at the Asian Championships in Tashkent last year. 11.6 was the qualification score. 11.7, so she's improved upon her display here with a slight increase of both difficulty and execution. Did finish the routine a little on the late side. Jo Kyung-byol of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Excellent performance on vault yesterday to win the silver medal. And we think this could be the highest difficulty score. 5.7 in the preliminary round. Very good front tuck. Goodness. Well, based on what we're seeing here, this is a contending performance because the execution is going to be a lot sharper than the preliminary stage. You just wonder if the performance that she gave on vault yesterday has done wonders for the confidence. That was, after all, yesterday her first World Cup final appearance. Now she looks like she's been doing this for years and years. That is a cracking performance from Jo Kyung-byol of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. It's going to be so interesting to look at the execution there compared to qualification. The 18-year-old from the capital city of Pyongyang. No doubt that he has the difficulty and the clarity with it to move into the gold medal position. Both of his vaults scored exactly the same in qualifying, 14.466. He will, we imagine, begin with the Dragulescu. That's certainly what's indicated on the board. Indeed so. A bit of a jarred landing. Some tents clearly to come off at the conclusion of that vault. From the gymnast who won the bronze medal at the last World Championships and earlier in the year won the World Universities title. He lands very upright, and that's one of the striking things about his Dragulescu. Doesn't have a huge drop of the chest, but it was a landing that lacked a touch of control. Although he was sixth at the Olympic Games, Nazar Chepurny, he was really close to being on the podium in terms of the raw numbers. .14.1, no surprise that that's an execution score below 9 compared to 9.266 in qualifying, so a bit of ground to make up now. As things stand, he's in line actually to finish slightly below Abdulaziz Mirvaliev, who's leading the way. But let's see what he can change with this second vault. Well, he's stepped out of bounds. Again, the landing not hugely sure in its control, but goodness, the amplitude. Rotating the body round a couple of times. Now, does the door open for others, especially for Mr. Davtyan, who is going to be the penultimate gymnast? He's just gone into the lead. 14.233 for the second vault, 14.166 overall. That is a matter of about 500ths ahead of Abdulaziz Mirvaliev. 13 for Joe. Well up from qualification. 1.1 better. That's just tremendous to see. But it was clear that it was going to be from the moment that she really started. It never looked as though there was a chance that she would come off the apparatus. When you consider that Jo Kyung-byul got a 6.3 for execution in qualification and a 7.4 in the final. Did have penalty 10th. We've just had a look at the lineup of the second half of this beam final, and that's where we've got the second and fourth best qualifiers, Rose Wu and Zala Trutnik. The second half of the men's vault final, and the dominant name there, Artur Davtyan, in terms of his qualification position and in terms of the season that he's having, the successes that he's enjoyed on vault. The overall World Cup winner over the last 3 seasons, and the World Cup winners will be confirmed once all is done and dusted. Then we move on to World Challenge Cup season, so don't get too despondent because there's still a lot of artistic gymnastics in the regular season to come. World Challenge Cups begin in the early part of May with Varna in Bulgaria, then we go to Koper in Slovenia just about a week after that, Tashkent in June, and Paris and Szombathely in September. And then the World Championships being held for the first time in Southeast Asia, taking place in Jakarta. And around all of those World Challenge Cups as well, the vital Continental Championships will be happening. So no shortage of artistic gymnastics to enjoy. But great to have your company for this one, the last day of finals in Cairo. Final warm-up taking place on vault. We're looking at Leo Saladino. Back to beam. What a privilege to have an Olympian from Rio here in Rose Wu of Canada. Second best in qualification. The 25-year-old looked really assured during the preliminary stage. Very good Canadian squad that's come to this event. Unfortunately had a delayed loss of stability coming out of the side aerial. Difficult half turnaround of the body. Not easy to then find the line of the beam after doing so. Comes out of the side somersault well. Very good dismount. She had so much time in the air, twisting the body round. Rose Wu from Canada. We go to the men's vault final in the second half. Bulgaria's Edi Penev. 5th best in qualification. He's really had such an impressive competition, Edi Penev. He looked fantastic on floor. Stepped forward after a difficult start in the floor final and really showed everyone how it was done. Now, some of the form in places perhaps lacked a bit of cleanliness. Had a slight bend of the knees in flight, but his landing was assured. Scored a 14.166 in qualification. 13.5 for the second vault. Yes, very well done. 14.266, and crucially there he's got that 5 for difficulty. Well, Edi Penev with a strong performance. "34-year-old from Bulgaria. So dependable in World Cup competition. It is absolutely remarkable when you think about the amount of injury that Edi Penev has endured in his career, the comebacks that he's had to fight his body through and probably his mind through as well. He's an incredible example of tenacity. .466 for the 4.4 difficulty vault for a 13.866 overall. That has him in 5th position. And he's one of those people who's just been so positive throughout his career despite those injury issues. Remarkable. Rose Wu has a slight drop from qualification, and it's come in the loss of 0.2 of difficulty for 12.533, so she's in 4th place. Zala Trutnik from Slovenia. 4th best with 12.3 in qualifying. The stability, unfortunately, not there on the wolf turns. Not the first time that she's made a balance beam final in Cairo. She was 5th a couple of years ago. She has a strong amount of experience competing in North Africa. She was an uneven bars finalist at the Mediterranean Games in Oran, Algeria 3 years ago. And she's done a very fine job of redeeming the stability. Very good, coming out of quite a low landing in the twist position, stabilised the body, brought it upright with minimal adjustment. 12th time in World Cup competition for Zala Trotnik. And a new face to the World Cups this season. Tommaso Brugnami of Italy, the reigning junior champion of the world. He's also won a whole host of junior European Championship honours, did that at home in Rimini last year. Well, the very encouraging sign there is how much time in the air he has, because at the moment he's producing routinely 2 4.8 difficulty vaults, but naturally for the 18-year-old there'll be the ambition to get those into the 5s. So it's interesting to scrutinise how much amplitude he's got. Very focused, as I'm sure you can imagine, on Los Angeles 2028, this young man. 14 for the Schufelt, up a fraction from qualifying, 13.966 in the preliminary stage. This was his better executed vault. Well, that's very tidy, isn't it? Nice work indeed from Tommaso Brugnami. It will be intriguing to see whether he can just push into that top 3. The scores at the moment, 14.016, that's Dimitrov, 14.116 Mirvaliev, and 14.166 Cheperny. 11.1 Zala Trotnik, unfortunately, is 1.2 marks down from the preliminary round. How nice that we're getting to see so much of Vita Prijanovic in World Cup finals lately. Made 2 finals in Doha. Now she's here in the beam competition in Cairo as the 4th of the 6th best, I should say, in qualification. She's a gymnast who at just 16 seems to get more assured every time we watch her, and that will naturally happen the more she gets used to these big televised finals. beam is one of the apparatus upon which he has competed most at international level. Ah, very nice side sami. Big accomplishment that for Vita Plijanovic, a third World Cup final of the season. The youngest gymnast in the competition. Now Brunyami, 13.983, so he has just missed out on a place on the podium. That second vault, the 1.5 twist in Kasamatsu, 13.966. This is where we find ourselves then, with Ciperni leading on 14.166 and Artur Davtyan about to perform with a 14.566 average. Armenia's Artur Davtyan. His teammates won 2 gold medals yesterday. The rings and pommel horse titles going their way. This gentleman's pathway to Los Angeles has already begun. Having won the bronze in Tokyo, the silver in Paris, there's no doubt whatsoever as to what his goal is for the next games. Artur Davtyan, top qualifier, winner of the title in Cottbus and Antalya and Doha. He was third in Osijek, uncharacteristically winning the bronze medal. The man who has made the overall World Cup title his own over the last few years. Here we go, opening vaults. Super, 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 super Dragulescu. Just saw Tommaso Brunyami nodding his head as he watched that. He must find it such a privilege to be in the same final as this gentleman. It's graceful. That's the lovely thing about how he lands, the Dragulescu. Just floats down to earth after all of that complexity in the tuck position. Those 2 rotations of the body and then the half twist. .7 and 9.5 for execution, better than qualification by almost 2/10. He really has got margin for error now. Yes, well, that ought to do it then. How often have we seen this from him in finals? I mean, there can be no point in creating false suspense. That was just lovely from Artur Davtyan, and it will be a leading score. And it will be very difficult for the next gymnast, on account of what we expect to be their difficulty, to go beyond it. So that tried and tested combination of the Dragulescu and the Yo 2 for Artur Davtyan. .166, well done, Vita Plijanovic. That's an improvement of over 2/10 from qualification. She's lost a little execution as expected, but what she has done is pick up 3 extra tenths of difficulty. Well, the score has just appeared in the arena. It's 14.7. The Armenian delegation saw it before anyone else. Made overwhelmingly the largest amount of noise. And they should be making noise because they've had a fabulous weekend in Cairo. I say weekend, it's Sunday and Monday here. Slightly unusually for World Cup competition. That's excellent, Davtyan leading. 2 masterful bits of vaulting. Now to the beam competition, and how wonderful to have the reigning champion of Africa in this final, Selina Bousmayo of Morocco. And she was actually a bronze medalist at the German National Championships on this apparatus a couple of years ago. All good save. Started representing Morocco in February of last year. Very well done on the wolf turns, the gymnast who was born in Düsseldorf. Germany is getting very ready for a big sporting summer. European Artistic Championships and the World University Games as well. Nicely done. Well, she's come in as the first reserve, Selina Bousmayo. It's been wonderful to get to see her in these World Cup finals here in Cairo. The Moroccan gymnast. What a moment it must have been to win that beam title in Marrakesh, of all places. Leo Saladino of France, the last gentleman to perform in the vaulting competition. Well, that's interesting. Saladino, the 22-year-old, who was the 8th best in qualifying. Really does well to get the body rotated around. Does have a sidestep out of bounds. We'll just see what the score is for this one. He picks up a score of 14 for that opening vault. There we go, 14 for Saladino. The reason why it's interesting is that he had a 5.2 and a 4.8 degree of difficulty in qualification. And this second vault is where he had the issues. And unfortunately, it's the same again. Oh, that's a shame. I was about to say he's potentially put himself really into contention for a place on the podium. But he had a 13.233 for his Roche in the preliminary round. And it'll be a similar sort of number here. Really good effort from Selena Busmayo, 6th position for her. Execution is up by about 3/4 of a mark from qualification. And that's always a really good outcome when a gymnast comes in as the first reserve and delivers that degree of improvement from the preliminary stage. And it is another African champion here in Cairo. .766, it's actually quite a bit lower than the qualification phase. So for Saladino, he's down in 8th place with 13.383. And another Armenian gold medal. Classified results to come. Valentina Georgieva, 12.666. She's the bronze medalist. Same position as she secured in qualifying. But there is the big mover from the preliminary round. The 7th best in qualifying, Jo Kyung-byul, has picked up another silver medal this weekend. That was a marvellous display on beam. And champion again, having won the uneven bars title yesterday, Kélia Namour of Algeria is the balance beam gold medalist to be. She could, by the way, win even more because she's in the floor final as one of the top 3 qualifiers. Abdulaziz Mirvaliev of Uzbekistan is the bronze medalist. And he did very well as the 6th best in qualifying. Once he hit that second vault, then that was where he immediately became a contender. Nazar Chepurny, 2nd best in qualifying. About to get another World Cup medal this season. That will be his 7th. The World Cup title, his again. Arta Davtyan, 14.7 for both vaults. Just fabulous. The classified results in the beam competition: the bronze medal to Valentina Georgieva of Bulgaria, silver to Jo Kyung-byul of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and the 2nd gold medal of her competition for Kélia Namour of Algeria. The final standings in the men's vault competition, and bronze will go to Abdulaziz Mirvaliev of Uzbekistan. Just about ahead of him, Nazar Cheperny of Ukraine taking silver, and the gold medalist some way ahead of the peloton, Artur Davtyan of Armenia. The victory ceremony for the women's balance beam competition at the Cairo World Cup of 2025. The bronze medal won by Valentina Georgieva of Bulgaria. She narrowly missed out on a vault medal yesterday. She's on the podium in the beam competition. It really has been an extraordinarily successful competition for this teenager from Pyongyang. New to World Cup competition, now very experienced very quickly at getting onto the podium. Jo Kyung-byul, silver medalist. A huge roar for Kalia Nemour of Algeria, the champion in Cairo. 2 days in a row as well after she took top spot in the uneven bars final yesterday. We will now hear the national anthem of Algeria. For the second time this competition, Kalia Nemour, the gold medalist. And there they are, the medalists in the women's balance beam competition at the Cairo World Cup of 2025. The victory ceremony for the men's vault competition at the Cairo World Cup of Artistic Gymnastics. The winner of the bronze medal, Abdulaziz Mirvaliev of Uzbekistan. Brilliant accomplishment as the 6th best in qualification. Ukraine's Nazar Cheperny winning the silver medal. Eight times now on a World Cup podium this season after finishing 3rd in the floor competition yesterday. And the champion again in one of the great enduring love affairs, Artur Davtyan and vaulting World Cup titles. He just cannot stop winning them. And if he keeps vaulting like that, he's going to keep winning lots and lots and lots as the season goes on and we build towards Los Angeles 2028. It's a long way away, but he is looking in excellent form. We will now have the national anthem of Armenia for the 3rd time at the Cairo World Cup. The medalists in the men's vault competition here in the Cairo International Stadium.